disappointment, the pain, and the loss that you go through trying and struggling with fertility is such a big thing, and it's not something that I've ever run away from talking about. I've had a very, very roller coaster ride with fertility. I just have, and it has never been easy for me.
Pain, loss, disappointment. Those are not just words Nicole Kidman once whispered about her private struggles. They are emotions that quietly shaped her entire life, both on and off the screen. Nicole Kidman is often seen as one of Hollywood's most graceful and respected actresses, a woman admired for her elegance, her discipline, and her undeniable talent. But behind the flawless red carpet smiles and award show speeches, her journey was never as smooth as it looked. Over the years, rumors have followed her like a shadow. Whispers of tension on set, awkward moments caught on camera, silent battles over power, control, and creative dominance. And whenever another star stood too close to her spotlight, the air reportedly changed. Some called her cold, others called her difficult, and a few even claimed she secretly hated working with certain co-stars. But how much of that is truth? And how much is pure Hollywood myth? In this video, we uncover the 7 actors Nicole Kidman was rumored to dislike the most. From viral public moments that exploded across the internet to quiet behind-the-scenes clashes no one wanted to talk about. These stories aren't about screaming matches or public feuds. They're about pressure, ambition, vulnerability, and the invisible lines actors draw to protect themselves. Who really tested Nicole Kidman's patience? Which relationships were misunderstood by the public? And which moments revealed more about Hollywood's dark reality than about Nicole herself? Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the more complicated and human this story becomes. It took just 6 seconds. 6 seconds of camera footage was enough to convince the world that Nicole Kidman and Salma Hayek hated each other. The moment happened in 2023 at Paris Fashion Week inside the chaos of a Balenciaga show. Flashing lights, crowded space, celebrities being pulled in every direction. Nicole Kidman and Salma Hayek stood side by side, surrounded by noise and movement. Then Salma gently touched Nicole's arm, guiding her into position. What happened next went viral. Nicole pulled her arm back. She turned away, and cameras caught her lips forming the words, "Don't touch me." That was all it took. Within hours, social media exploded. Headlines screamed about a secret feud. Fans dissected body language frame by frame. Comment sections filled with theories about long-standing jealousy, ego clashes, and years of hidden resentment between 2 powerful actresses. But the truth was far less dramatic and far more human. Insiders quickly stepped in to shut the rumors down. At the time of that event, Nicole Kidman was grieving. She had just lost her mother, emotionally raw, overwhelmed, and surrounded by a chaotic crowd. She reacted instinctively, not maliciously. It wasn't about Salma Hayek. It wasn't about rivalry. It was about a woman barely holding herself together in public. The evidence came just hours later. Salma Hayek posted a warm photo with Nicole that same day. 2 women smiling naturally, relaxed, as if nothing had happened. No tension, no bitterness, no hidden hostility, and when you look closer, the idea of a feud never made sense to begin with. Salma Hayek's husband controls the parent company of Balenciaga, the very brand Nicole Kidman represents as an ambassador. Their professional lives are deeply connected. Their social circles overlap. They share mutual friends, including Tom Cruise. Hollywood is small and their worlds are intertwined, not divided. What the internet labeled as hatred was nothing more than a fleeting, vulnerable moment taken out of context. So did Nicole Kidman really hate Salma Hayek? Not even close. There was no feud, no rivalry, no long buried resentment, just a private moment, misread by millions, frozen forever in 6 unforgiving seconds of footage. And yet, that moment became a reminder of how quickly Hollywood narratives are written, often without mercy and rarely with truth. Everyone remembers the headlines, the red carpets, the perfect smiles, the golden couple Hollywood couldn't stop talking about. But very few people remember how young Nicole Kidman really was when her life collided with Tom Cruise. She wasn't just falling in love, she was stepping into a world built entirely around one of the most powerful movie stars on the planet. With Tom Cruise, nothing was ever simple. In the 1990s, they looked untouchable, beautiful, glamorous, impossible to separate. To the public, they were Hollywood royalty. Behind closed doors, the pressure was relentless. Tom Cruise was already a global phenomenon. Every move he made echoed across the industry. Nicole, still rising, often found herself standing just behind him, expected to shine without ever outshining. Years later, she admitted it quietly, without bitterness. My role was to support him. That imbalance followed them everywhere. Then came Eyes Wide Shut. Stanley Kubrick's infamous production was not just a film, it was an emotional experiment. The shoot stretched on for over a year, blurring the line between performance and real life. Kubrick pushed them relentlessly. He asked invasive questions. He forced them to confront their deepest insecurities, both as actors and as a married couple. Nicole later confessed the experience left her both exhilarated and emotionally drained, half joking, half revealing. She once said she would have stayed another year. That's how consuming it became. But outside the set, the cracks were growing. Tom's career soared higher. Nicole's identity felt increasingly tied to his shadow. Fame pulled them in different directions, and the marriage began to strain under the weight of expectation, control, and constant scrutiny. When they divorced in 2001, the official explanation was simple: diverging careers. The reality was far more complicated. Nicole has since spoken with honesty about that time. She was young, overwhelmed, still figuring out who she was, not just as an actress, but as a woman. The end of the marriage left her shaken, but it also forced her to rebuild from the ground up. She found a stability with Keith Urban. She built a family away from tabloid chaos. She reclaimed her voice. Tom Cruise, for his part, never turned their past into a public battlefield. He kept his distance. He spoke respectfully, and she did the same. So did Nicole Kidman hate Tom Cruise? No. What existed between them wasn't hatred. It was love tangled with pressure, ambition colliding with youth. Two people growing in different directions under an unforgiving spotlight. Their story wasn't a feud, it was a lesson. And when it ended, both of them walked away changed, carrying scars but also clarity. On paper, it should have been perfect. Two Australian superstars, a major film, a shared history that stretched back years. Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman looked like natural allies in Hollywood. And yet, as always, rumors found a way to creep in. Whispers began circulating about quiet tension, unspoken discomfort, and professional jealousy hiding beneath the smiles. The speculation always circled back to one film, Australia, released in 2008. Originally, the male lead was meant for someone else. Russell Crowe was the first choice. When that fell through, it was Nicole Kidman who personally encouraged Hugh Jackman to take the role, before she had even read the full script. "This is Baz, just do it," she told him. On set, their chemistry was easy, even during intimate or awkward scenes. Jackman later joked that if something felt strange, he could simply say, "This feels weird," and Nicole would laugh and move on. There was no ego, no tension, just trust. Still, gossip refused to die. Some claimed Hugh, being the second choice, created friction. Others twisted a few of Nicole's reserved comments about casting into proof of buried resentment. But those theories ignored a much deeper truth. Their bond didn't begin in Hollywood. Nicole had known Hugh Jackman's wife, Deborah Lee Furness, since the early 1990s, long before fame, back when they were broke, couch surfing, auditioning, and trying to survive in Los Angeles. These weren't industry friendships. They were real ones. When Nicole's marriage to Tom Cruise collapsed in 2001, it wasn't Hollywood that helped her heal. It was Hugh and Deb. They supported her quietly without cameras or headlines. Years later, Nicole admitted it herself. After the divorce, Hugh and Deb were part of her healing process. There was never public hostility, no icy interviews, no passive-aggressive remarks. Hugh has called Nicole loyal and grounding. Nicole has spoken warmly about knowing from the very beginning that Hugh and Deb were meant to last. So did Nicole Kidman ever hate Hugh Jackman? Not even remotely. If there was ever minor professional friction, it was drowned out by years of genuine friendship, trust, and emotional support. Even today, their connection remains intact. Not because of a movie, not because of Hollywood, but because it existed long before the rumors tried to rewrite it. Nicole Kidman and Meryl Streep, two names that carry weight, two careers built on excellence, and for a brief moment, two forces quietly colliding on the same set. When Big Little Lies first premiered, the series belonged to Nicole Kidman. Her performance was its emotional backbone. She carried the darkest layers of the story, and the industry rewarded her for it. Awards followed, praise followed. The spotlight was firmly hers. Then came a season 2, and with it, Meryl Streep. The energy shifted instantly. Streep arrived with her signature authority. Calm, commanding, impossible to ignore. Insiders say the atmosphere on set changed the moment she stepped in, not because of hostility, but because power had to be shared. Crew members whispered about an unspoken tension, not arguments, not confrontations, just two icons quietly measuring space, status, and creative gravity. One insider joked that it felt like watching two queens assess the size of each other's crowns. It wasn't hatred. It was ambition meeting ambition. Nicole remained publicly gracious, praising Meryl's talent and professionalism. But friends later admitted the pressure was real. When you've built something, when you've earned your place, sharing the throne isn't easy, especially when the person stepping in carries a legacy as vast as the Streeps. Meryl never addressed the rumors directly. Instead, she offered a subtle, knowing comment in an interview. In this business, everyone wants their moment. Fans took it as a quiet acknowledgement, not of conflict, but of reality. There were no shouting matches, no dramatic fallouts, no public feud for the tabloids to feast on, just two towering careers brushing against each other, each protecting her own space. Today, their relationship is polite, respectful, distant, but intact. No bitterness lingers, but there's no warm reunion either. Some relationships don't need to explode to leave a mark. Sometimes the tension exists only in the silence. So did Nicole Kidman hate Meryl Streep? No. But sharing the spotlight with another legend forced a rare moment of adjustment, one that revealed how even the most powerful careers must occasionally bend to make room. From the outside, Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon looked inseparable. They smiled together on red carpets. They praised each other in interviews. They presented a united front as the driving force behind Big Little Lies. But behind the scenes, the reality was more complicated. Both women weren't just the stars of the show. They were executive producers. They held real power, real influence. And when two strong visions try to shape the same story, friction becomes almost inevitable. Insiders describe the atmosphere as intense but controlled. Not personal, not emotional, creative. Two leaders steering one ship, sometimes pulling in slightly different directions. Crew members recalled moments when it felt like there were two captains on set, each fiercely protective of her interpretation. Nicole was known for her precision, her emotional discipline, her careful control over tone and pacing. Reese, on the other hand, brought energy, urgency, and bold creative ideas that didn't always align with Nicole's instincts. That contrast sparked tension. Nicole reportedly found some of Reese's approaches at odds with the mood she was trying to preserve. But in public, she remained composed, consistently calling Reese a talented and dedicated collaborator. Reese, for her part, didn't deny the challenge. "We both have strong opinions," she admitted. "Sometimes the give is hard." Still, neither woman allowed the disagreements to become personal. The friction never turned hostile. If anything, it pushed the show to dig deeper, to sharpen its edge, to become more powerful. Producers later confirmed what many suspected. The tension wasn't about ego, it was about excellence. Their debates were fueled by passion, not resentment, and when the cameras rolled, the results spoke for themselves. Today, Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon remain close, not just colleagues, but genuine friends and creative partners. Their collaboration stands as proof that strong personalities don't have to explode to make headlines. Sometimes they collide just enough to create something extraordinary. So did Nicole Kidman hate Reese Witherspoon? No. What looked like conflict was simply two powerful women refusing to settle for anything less than the best. No one on the set of Rabbit Hole expected the quiet tension between Nicole Kidman and Miles Teller to become one of the most uncomfortable behind-the-scenes stories of her career. There were no screaming matches, no explosive arguments, just silence and a growing sense of distance. Miles Teller was the first to speak publicly about it. Years later, he described working with Nicole Kidman as a horrible experience. According to him, she barely spoke to him, barely acknowledged his presence, and made him feel invisible. It was like she didn't even want me there, he said. For Teller, the coldness was confusing and deeply discouraging. As a younger actor, he expected collaboration, conversation, some form of connection. Instead, he felt shut out. Nicole never responded publicly, but those close to the production offered a different explanation. Nicole Kidman's process is intensely internal. She prepares in silence. She protects her emotional space fiercely. On set, she treats the mood as sacred. Any disruption, any shift in energy can break the fragile emotional bubble she builds around a role. Miles Teller was the opposite, restless, spontaneous, talkative. His approach kept pulling at the emotional atmosphere Nicole was trying to maintain. One insider explained it simply. She felt the emotional rhythm kept slipping away. For Nicole, silence was survival. For Miles, it felt like rejection. If your co-star won't even say hello, he later reflected, how are you supposed to connect? On camera, they remained professional. The performances worked, but off camera, the distance never closed. They finished the film without confrontation, without resolution, and they never worked together again. So did Nicole Kidman hate Miles Teller? No. What existed between them wasn't hatred. It was incompatibility. Two actors with opposing methods, protecting their craft in very different ways, colliding without ever finding common ground. Sometimes silence speaks louder than anger, and in this case, it ended a collaboration before it ever truly began. Nicole Kidman's relationship with Harvey Weinstein was never about personality clashes or creative disagreements. It was something far darker, a reflection of the toxic power structure that ruled Hollywood for decades. She never accused him of personal misconduct, but she was honest about the fear. When Nicole entered the Miramax world, the rules were clear from the beginning. Power belonged to one man. Decisions were not negotiated. They were imposed. Saying no came with consequences, and silence often felt safer than resistance. Friends say Nicole respected the films. She believed in the work, but she feared the man behind the curtain. Working under Weinstein's control didn't feel like collaboration. It felt like survival. His reputation for intimidation and bullying hung over every set, every meeting, every creative choice. Nicole later described the environment as hostile, a system designed to keep women quiet, compliant, and dependent. You learn very fast who holds the power, she once said. And sometimes that power isn't kind. She didn't tell shocking stories. She didn't seek attention. Instead, her words pointed to something bigger, a culture of fear that trapped countless actresses long before the truth came out. Privately, she felt relief when that truth finally surfaced. It was time, she reportedly said, not just for her, but for everyone. Today, there is no connection between them, only the shadow of a chapter she would rather leave behind. Instead of dwelling on the past, Nicole Kidman now uses her platform to push for an industry built on safety, respect, and accountability, not fear. Her silence was never weakness. It was endurance. Each of these stories peels back a layer of Nicole Kidman the public rarely sees. Not a diva, not a villain, but a woman fiercely protective of her craft, her boundaries, and her emotional survival in an industry that often demands too much. Some moments were misunderstood, some tensions were inevitable, and some encounters were shaped by power, not personality. So which story surprised you the most? Was Nicole right to stand her ground? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more Untold Hollywood stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay with us. Because behind every perfect smile, there's always a story waiting to be told.